Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a homeschool and curriculum haul to share with you. This is the first one of the 2019-2020 school year, and I have more coming, so please check the description box below for links to the other curriculum and homeschool hauls that I'll have for this year, as well as links to all the unit studies that we are going to be doing that have all of the projects and activities that we did using all of these materials. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you, actually, let me move a couple of things aside so that I can share with you the supplies that we got, which are mostly books. And I want to say that almost all of these items, actually, I think all of them actually came from Amazon. And I don't typically shop from Amazon for homeschool materials. And honestly, they actually don't have the best prices. So it's a little bit frustrating, price comparing, because it's obviously convenient to shop from Amazon, but they don't have everything and they don't have the best prices. And I'd rather support smaller booksellers if I'm buying books. So for a lot of science books, I would recommend Nature Watch and Acorn Naturalist. And for anything Waldorf related, the two vendors that I go to most often are A Child's Dream and Waldorf Supplies. And if you can find other smaller booksellers that you would recommend, I would love to support smaller booksellers as long as, the price is still decent, because sometimes, shipping and stuff kind of adds up. Okay, so let me put this aside and just start with these books here. Most of the things I got right now are books. And I want to share with you why I chose them, and what units they're going to go for. And also, just bear in mind that I have not read through any of these yet, so I do not know whether they're going to be hits or misses with our units. And so please do check back at the reviews that I post at the end of all of our units. And it reviews all of the materials that we've used, books, resources, project activities, and I just let you know what we liked and what we didn't like and what we plan to use again. Okay, so this book is called The Big Book of the Blue, and I actually saw this at a museum bookstore, and it was just so gorgeous. I decided to go ahead and order it for our homeschool. This would work great with our ocean unit that we've previously done that we like so much that we could do again. And it can work with other units as well. It doesn't have to be just a very general unit. And of course, it's a gorgeous picture book. So already I like it, and I was able to see the inside of this book before I purchased it, and I was just taken by the illustrations. So I just want to say that sometimes I purchase books based on their illustrations, and if the content isn't as engaging as I hope, at least we can use illustrations for our inspiration for our unit studies. The next book is called Horses, and this is just a really simple book. This is not something that I'd be like, oh, I love this book. I just needed some really simple books for a unit that we're going to do on horses. Now, I wasn't able to see the insides of all of the books that we ordered, and so it is really important for me to share with you the insides of these books as I get them and as I use them, so that you can see whether they're going to work for your homeschool or not. You can certainly get a lot of these books at the library or secondhand. I find that utilizing my library has its pros and cons, and so whenever possible, I just try to own the books. But the library bookstore also has some really great deals. So we're going to be doing a unit on horses, and this is just a general information book on horses. My Pony, this is a picture book on horses. Now, when I'm putting together our unit studies, I do try to look for a variety of materials, not just within books, but also hands-on projects and field trips and things that we can do in the kitchen. But when it comes to books, I try to order books, or I try to source books that are going to fall into a few different categories. Now, I've got more information about this down in the description box below. This is especially useful when I'm looking through or creating history units. But for a book on horses, I wanted to, of course, get the picture books, wanted to get something of an activity book if possible. I wanted to look for nonfiction books. I wanted to look for something that could be historical. I even found a book on Native American Indians and about a girl and a horse. And so including those books into our unit study is going to be helpful, not just for the student that I'm doing this unit study for, but also for the other students who are of different grade levels. It kind of helps bring everyone together. All right, so this is just a tiny little booklet that has stickers, and this is just for fun and oops. Yeah, there we go. And it also has the names of all the the horses. Okay, so let me show you a few more of these books that I have on horses. So I was on Amazon, and you can also go to all kinds of different booksellers. I do like Barnes and Noble as well. So I just plugged in horses, and of course I got books on horses, but I also got books on horseshoe crabs, and these picture books looked so lovely. I decided, well, let me buy some of those too and create a unit to go along with these books. So that's sometimes how units get created, but the unit on horses was put together specifically because my daughter started taking some horseback riding lessons, and I know nothing about horses at all, and so I thought a unit might be helpful, and plus, since she loves it so much, I thought that it would be of interest to her, and not sure how that's going to play out, but I'll definitely let you know. Okay, so this is just a little book on horses. It looks like it's a picture book, charming little illustrations, and I hope that she'll enjoy it. Okay, so Horseshoe Crabs and Shorebirds, the story of a food web. These illustrations are super gorgeous, and I'll just be honest, I bought it because of the cover. It looks so beautiful. I'm like, we will fit this in somehow. And it looks like there's a couple of different ways to fit it in. And since it says Shorebirds, and we're just concluding our book, or our unit on birds, I might go ahead and read this along with our unit. And that will be a great way to transition from one unit to the next. So really beautiful illustrations. A Field Full of Horses. This looks like another beautiful picture book that it just scanning, it looks like there's a lot of information. I think I'll really, really like this one, not just because the illustrations are gorgeous, but because it seems like when information is presented more in this format, it's easier to understand for the child, and it's also a little bit easier to retain versus a book like this, which, while the photographs are really beautiful and stunning, it just doesn't appeal to me personally. And just by really just glancing over the content, it looks like it's a little bit less engaging. I can't say for sure. We haven't done our units yet, but that's just from first glance. Seahorses. So we had horseshoe crabs. Okay, and now we have seahorses. Again, this is because I plugged in horses and some books on seahorses came up, and again, the illustrations, or rather the front cover, was just so gorgeous that I decided to order this book as well and try to figure out a way to fit this in either a mini unit on oceanography again, or just read it because it's just gorgeous and fun. Went ahead and I got this book as well called Seahorses, and this one looks like a bit more of kind of like the kind that you'd find in the nonfiction section of your library. And again, something that without our educational funding, I would not purchase this. I would rather spend my money on other things, but because we have our educational funding, because it's sometimes hard to get the books that I need in time for a unit, I just prefer to have those books on hand. So, and another thing is that because we have our educational funding, I'm really happy that I can support these authors, illustrators, and publishers because I love these kinds of books and I want more of them. So I feel like that in a way is supporting that industry. Okay, The Sequoia Lives On. This book popped up as a recommendation after I was like going through all those other picture books. So Amazon kind of nudged me to get this one, and I happily obliged. And so the illustrations are beautiful, and they're gorgeous, and it looks like the story could be really beautiful as well. I just want to make a note of some of the things that I notice in picture books that totally not even relevant, really, to be honest, but I'm just going to point it out anyway. Let me pull out this book for you for a minute just so that I can show you the comparison. I prefer, okay, so this book doesn't have the dust cover, right? It just has the beautiful front cover. Dust covers are awesome. I just find them really hard to maintain. I prefer not to have it. But the quality of this cover versus this one is better in my opinion. I mean, I don't know, but I like it better. And so I could easily just take the dust cover off and just put it aside. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it on, and eventually it's going to get ruined. But at least I'm glad that the book itself still has the same image as the dust cover, because I really don't like it when the books have a different cover. Anyway, that's just me. And then these pages are kind of like more of like a glossy finish. And these pages have more of like this really thick, really nice quality kind of matte finish. I really, really like books like this. Not to say that I don't still like this book, but there's something about, the texture, me and paper. Anywho, wanted to point that out. Still a lovely book. I'm sure that you'll enjoy it as much as I think I'm going to enjoy. So this could work, just all picture books could work great for your morning activities, your morning basket, bedtime stories, a transition activity. Picture books are awesome, awesome, awesome. Of all of the resources, except for maybe handwork, I love picture books the best. I find that you can get an amazing amount of information in the most beautiful medium of beautiful illustrations, if you pick the right books, and a beautiful tale, like a narrative, a story. I feel like that is just the magic that brings information alive, and it really connects to the student and the adult. Counting on Catherine. So I believe it was last year, or maybe even the year before, that I picked up a number of books on female role models. They're awesome. I got them specifically because I have a little girl, but honestly, I really should have picked them up when I was first starting homeschooling, because they are so important for young boys as well, but especially for young girls. I find it so encouraging. After I started reading those books, my daughter has basically chosen about a half dozen different professions that she wants to be. Now, I do not believe in pushing girls into any specific field, but I do completely believe in supporting them in whatever endeavor they want to pursue. And I also believe in kind of busting this whole idea that certain children are better at certain things just because of their gender. Completely disagree with that 100%. But at the same time, if a child is really into a particular field, and you're like, that's not gonna do anything for you. Like, I just don't believe in that. And also, when children are really young, they like to explore a lot of different things. So the point is that they have really positive role models to look up to in fields, and especially with these particular books that I have gotten recently and that I had before, these women really broke the mold, or just really expanded the horizon, not just for women, but for people in general. And that's really important to remember. So anyway, this is Counting on Catherine, and this I will be adding to that whole blog post, and I can't add it to the video, but the whole blog post on female role models. I may have to do another video that includes all these new ones that we got. How Emily Saved the Bridge. This is the Building of Brooklyn Bridge. Now, I can't say that I care so much for these illustrations. They're not super my type, but I don't completely dislike them, and I am banking on the fact that the content of this book is just gonna make up for the fact that I don't like them. And anyway, that's just a personal opinion. There are certain illustrations that I really like a lot. Just because I don't like this one doesn't mean that other people won't. I just want to put it out there that I'm not crazy about them. The Girl Who Named Pluto. I'm really excited about this story. I don't know much about it at all. I love astronomy, love it so much, and this will work really great for female role models. It will work great for astronomy or any kind of science unit, as well as all the other reasons why I think picture books are fabulous. Really, really cool illustrations, super different than what I normally see. A Computer Called Catherine. This is similar to the previous book I showed you, and this is really great. And I forgot that this also would work really well if you decide to do a unit on people of color, as well as astronomy, as well as female role models. So you can see how these books have multiple ways to fit into your homeschool. I want to also say that primarily the curriculum that I get, we do have our live education Waldorf curriculum, but after that, other than Key to curriculum, which is a math curriculum, Key to fractions, Key to decimals, etc., the bulk of my curriculum is actually living books and projects, hands-on projects, activities, things like that. So these books, they are my curriculum. The bee book. Now, we've already done our unit on bees, but I recently found some new materials that looked really inspiring to me, so I thought that I would just do another bee unit, but maybe not make it as long or as involved. But who am I kidding? It's just going to still be long and involved, and now it has some new books that we can enjoy. And I love, again, the paper on this one. It has that nice thick kind of heavy paper and neat illustrations that I enjoy. Secret Engineer. This is also the story about the Brooklyn Bridge. You know, with Amazon at least, you start to find a type of interest, and it just kind of like leads you down a little rabbit hole, and along the way you find other books that kind of support that interest, and that's how I found this book as well. I did not seek out more books on female role models. They sort of just popped up, and I thought, hey, well, thank you very much, I'm gonna get those too. Okay, I've got one more book to show you before I show you some of the projects that we got. This book was, I saw this on Instagram at my friend's account. That's linked down below if you want to go check out Angie's account. It's really, she has amazing living books. I really enjoy the resources that she collects. We were in the middle of our bird unit, and she had posted this book, and immediately I went over and added it to my wish list. This one is called Robins, How They Grow Up, and actually I can tell you about this because we just read it today since we're at the close of our bird unit. This book is awesome. It's just like 10 out of 10. It's so great. The illustrations are fabulous. The content is amazing, and it's story driven. It has everything that I could hope for in a great picture book. So if you want to know the kind of picture books that I love, that hit all the markers, this is it. It's also a longer picture book, and it's so beautifully written, really from start to finish, from the perspective of these two young birds that talk about their parents, and then the whole basically life cycle of a robin and the perils and, you know, the joys, and it's just so well done. Really love it. And even though we're at the end of our unit for our bird unit, I do intend to do maybe one more project based on this book. I know my son, who's 12, is totally done with that unit, so I think this is just something that I'll put together for him that I won't ask him to do. Okay, so back to our unit on horses. In looking for things on horses, I also found this kit called Trojan Horse, and you can recreate this Trojan horse, and it's, you know, Greek Trojan horse. So this is something that would, since the unit that I'm putting together is for my 8-year-old daughter, my 12-year-old son will probably be like on the periphery, listening in, and maybe not doing all the projects, but now I have things that will work for him. My daughter won't be interested in building this, but my son will. And so that's a way to draw him into the unit where he won't be doing everything that she's doing, and she won't be doing some of the things that he's doing, but there'll be some community aspect to this unit study. And I do strive to do that with all of our unit studies, since I'm doing unit studies for, you know, multiple children. So this is a great kit that would actually go really great with a Greek unit study. So history as well as science, you know, study of horses. And then of course, like all the hand and following directions, and, you know, like the working with the hands is what I mean, and following directions. Then that's, a kit like this can work with multiple disciplines. So I'm really excited about this. I'm gonna have to add it to our Greek unit as well. Okay, 4D vision horse. This is an anatomy model. Yeah, this is not typically the stuff that I normally get, but I'm curious to see how this will work in our homeschool. Definitely something that my 12-year-old son will probably be more able to understand from an anatomy perspective versus my daughter. I would not be buying this for my 8-year-old. I would want her to experience the unit more with beauty and stories and not so much hard science. So this will be something more for my 12-year-old. Okay, let me show you this. This I also saw on Angie's Instagram. It's called Grow a Frog, and we were doing a unit. We were intending to do a unit on frogs at the close of last school year, and didn't get around to doing it, primarily because our bird unit ended up taking so long, and also because that's all that comes in here. Wait a minute. Primarily because I wanted to get this kit. Oh, I see. Bear with me while I try to figure this out. I totally thought it... Oh, maybe you have to buy the other piece that goes along with it. Well, I guess we won't be doing this right away. Anyway, as soon as we get all the materials to do this, we'll be doing this as part of our frog unit. Okay, 2 more items to show you. This one is called Star Wars Science, and this is primarily for my 12-year-old son, but my 8-year-old saw this and it's like, I want one too. And so this is with magnets, I believe, so this would work well with a science unit for any Star Wars fan. Let me open this up and show you what it looks like inside. This doesn't go with any particular unit, but it could definitely go, actually, could it go with our physics unit? I can't remember. Let's see what it comes with. Cool, interesting stuff. I will be able to share more about, oh, okay, so you assemble this and then you've got this thing here. This is super, super cool. I really, really hope it works. This looks like a lot of fun. Anyway, I will definitely include this into one of the science units that we're doing, and that way you can see it in action and also hear the review about it. Okay, last thing I want to show you. This is I want to say the Magnet Tiles is the name brand of a different kind of magnet tiles, but anyway, these are magnetic tiles that I have been seeing at my friends' houses for years. I kid you not, and I kept forgetting to order them, and finally this year I ordered them. It comes with a lot more than you see here, 100 pieces I believe, but it's already being used by my children, so I just grabbed a few pieces that were not part of their building sets to show you what this is all about. Now, I'm not crazy about this for a couple of reasons, but my children love them, so I will be buying another set. I'm not crazy about them because they're plastic, but then again, I also have Legos too, so it's a little hypocritical of me to say this, but I would prefer things made of wood and natural materials. I do make the exception with Legos, but what I've noticed about these, and maybe with Legos too, is that over time they get kind of scratchy and dull and kind of discolored, and not discolored, just dull and not so vibrant. And that might not be a big deal, but just doesn't look as nice. Something else is that because it's plastic, once it's broken, whereas with other materials, I feel like there's a way to mend them. If it's wood, you can glue it or sand it or try to screw it back together or something. But sometimes with these things, once they're broken, they're broken. I don't know how, like, if they're recyclable or not. That being said, it's not like I haven't purchased things that end up getting wasted or consumable items. It's just that if I can avoid them, I would like to. But it's been many years that my children have been asking about these, and we finally did get them. Great for math, great for building and creativity. They have little magnets inside, and that's how these pieces stay together. And they are so much more talented at building things. I'm telling you, like, this kind of stuff I really struggle with. But anyway, that is the last thing that I have to share with you. I forgot to show you one more thing. This is the Professor Noggins Horses game. This is a trivia-based card game. We love these card games so much. We use them for all kinds of units. They have so many different titles and subjects, and they come with a set of easy questions and a set of hard questions and a dice, and we love playing with this. It's a little bit more challenging at the start of a unit since these are trivia-based questions, but we certainly get a lot more proficient by the end of the unit. And sometimes if I know the information more than my kids, which I'll tell you is kind of rare, I'll do the harder questions versus the easier questions. We really love these games. We have them for all different subject areas, and I really highly recommend the Professor Noggins trivia games. This is the first of several hauls for this school year. You can tap on the screen to see some of my other homeschool hauls. Check the description box below for links to the blog post that accompanies this video. And if you want to see how our homeschool is progressing on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.